Good evening. A few weeks ago, my dear friend Martin Kenyon, who is seated in front, telephoned me and left a message in which he sounded quite alarmed because he had just heard that I had been asked to give the Commonwealth lecture. What Martin did not know was that I was just as alarmed as he was. And so I feel a little bit like a pretender to the throne, standing here before you in this gorgeous space. But I am deeply honored, and I thank the Commonwealth Foundation for inviting me, and I thank you all for being here. I would like to start by talking about bagels. When I was growing up in Nsukka, the university town in southeastern Nigeria, books were the center of my world. I started reading when I was perhaps 4 years old, and I read everything I could find. One day, I read an American novel in which a character ate something called a bagel for breakfast. I had no idea what a bagel was, but I thought it sounded very elegant, very exotic. I pronounced it bagel. I desperately wanted to have a bagel. My family visited the United States for the first time when I was 9, and at the airport in New York, I told my mother that as a matter of the gravest urgency, we had to buy a bagel. And so she went to a cafe and bought one. Finally, I would have a bagel. You can imagine my disappointed surprise when I discovered that this bagel, this glorious bagel from the novel, was only just a dense donut. Still, even though a bagel ended up not being some sort of exquisite confection, the moments in which I thought it was were well worth it, because my imagination soared in delight. And there was something comforting and instructive in that discovery of a bagel, in the demystifying ordinariness of a bagel. Other people like me ate boring food. I have since, by the way, come to enjoy a toasted bagel with cream cheese. But I wanted to use this anecdote not only to illustrate the wondrous ability of books to enlarge our imaginations, but also as a starting point to make a case for the kind of literature that I was drawn to and that I continue to be drawn to as a reader and as a writer. I have been writing since I was old enough to spell. My writing, when it is going well, gives me what I like to describe as extravagant joy. And when it is not going well, is a source of great depression and anxiety. I write because I have to. I write because I love the solitude of writing. Because I love the near mystical sense of creating characters who sometimes speak to me. Because I love the possibility of touching another human being with my work. Because I spend a large amount of time in the spaces between the imaginary and the concrete. Writing, we are often told, is a solitary endeavor, and it is. It is also intensely idiosyncratic. Each time I read of or hear about a writer's elaborate writing ritual, I am immediately tempted to claim an equally elaborate ritual of my own. To claim that I light red candles, or hold improbable yoga positions, or recite an Igbo chant, or fall into a brief trance before I actually begin to write. But although my ritual is in truth significantly less colorful than what I wish it were, it does exist, as I suspect it does for every writer. There is an Igbo proverb that says, "Onye na-akwa nka na-adu iru," which translates loosely to, "A sculptor always works with a frown." This suggests that the sculptor, and by extension the artist, the writer, the creative person, works in a state of the utmost seriousness and rigor, because her vocation, her calling, is not entirely in her control. She's a conduit of sorts, communing with something larger than herself, hence the frown. Now, I don't walk with a frown, at least not all the time, but I do think of my writing as both magic and craft. It is a whispering from the spirits, an inexplicable gift I have been blessed with. And it is also a steely determination to sit down for hours and write and rewrite until the muscles of my neck and shoulders tighten in painful revolt.
But it shouldn't be too difficult for you to find it. Thank you.